I can't.
Oh, here we go.
Sorry about this.
We'll go back. Can I go back? Maybe. There you go. So I would like to first thank the organizing committee for inviting the Alzheimer Association to come talk about our research opportunities for early career researchers. So the Alzheimer Association vision is to see a world without Alzheimer and other dementia. If you are not aware, we are based here in Chicago. We have chapters all over the country. We fund globally, but we also have a hotline for families that are caring for an individual with Alzheimer or other dementia that's 24/7, 365 days of the year. And the phone number is 1-800-272-3900. And you can all find resources about the disease at alz.org. But focusing on research, our research strategy is based on seed, speed, and scale. So we want to fund ideas that were not funded elsewhere. Pilot studies, something that it's not necessarily you have preliminary data. You don't need preliminary data to apply to our funding mechanisms. We want to develop new therapies. So we want to seed those new ideas, and we want to accelerate the rate of discovery of them. So we want to fund dynamic, multidimensional, and multifaceted research. We want to focus in not only Alzheimer's, but all other dementia. Currently, we are the largest nonprofit funder of AD and other dementia throughout all over the world. We have over $310 million actively funding over 950 projects in 48 countries. So you do not need to be an American citizen. You do not need to have a green card. You don't need to be in the United States to be funded by the Alzheimer Association. Our portfolio is very vast. The main, like you can see it on the slide, 42% is we focus on biology of AD and other dementia, but we focus on dementia care, translational research, clinical interventions. So we want to tackle the disease in every possible way. You can see here that throughout the last 6 years, we actually increased significantly our funding. We have never funded this much. We increased it in over 180% in dollars and 138% in projects. So we want to fund you, you need to apply. And after this talk, if you have any questions, happy to answer any of them. So I'm gonna go through what we call the core programs. So they're focusing early career. One of them is for, there's not a timeline, a terminal degree limit, but all of this, it's opens twice a year. So the next one is gonna open in January, February 23. We are actually currently under review for this, it closed in September 1st. The website is alz.org/grants. All the information is there. You can download the program announcement, the RFA there. And if you come across any questions that you have, always reach out to us at grantsapp@alz.org. I have people in the audience that also are in my team, and we will respond to you, I guarantee, in 24 hours. You can send an email on GrantSapp, and someone from the team will respond. So do not, if you are anyway, am I eligible for this or not, do reach out to us. So sorry about this. So we have 4 that I will go through specifically in the details. So we have fellowships for clinician scientists, we have research fellowships, we have research grants, and we have research grants new to the field, people that are coming from other fields to apply their knowledge in Alzheimer's and dementia. All our programs have the promote diversity component, and this is the diversity of the applicant, not of the application. So we follow the NIH guidelines for that. And we also, if you are born in countries that are low and middle income countries, but you are doing research in the United States and it is in the list of the World Economics, you are eligible to apply to these programs. We also have this throughout the year, several other mechanisms of funding. We have ones focused on clinical trials. So these are some that are under review right now, some that will open. So we have one that's focusing in Tau. So it's called the TPAP. It's a partnership with the Tau Consortium, the Rainwater Charitable Foundation. We have one that's focus on care, that's called ARCON, that's in partner with LinkAD from the NIH. We have one that's going to be opening soon, that it's going to be focused on sex and gender, and one focused on health disparities. So I always recommend you checking the website, because constantly we are either partnering with other foundations or opening programs that you might be eligible for. All our programs are pretty straightforward on the process of applying and review. So you will have to apply submit a letter of intent. So the letter of intent, pretty quickly, you will put all the details there. I'll go through those in a little bit. And then if you are invited, those are going to be reviewed. And if you are invited for a full application, then you need to put the whole work plan, the details, everything on it. The full application is also going to be reviewed. We have over 7,000 reviewers throughout the world. They're experts in the field. If you are interested in becoming a reviewer for the Alzheimer Association, you can also volunteer and send us an email. So we gather after the review, the online review, as a panel, like the study sections from the NIH. So we have committee calls, and we go through those applications. We have an international research grant council that will recommend the merit of those rankings to the medical and scientific advisory group. And those will make their final recommendation to the Alzheimer Association. If we have enough funds to fund all the recommended applications, we will definitely fund. So the letter of intent, as I mentioned, all programs have that. It's through the system that we use to manage our grants. If maybe some of you are familiar with the Proposal Central, it's pretty straightforward. You don't need to do any attachments besides maybe the biosketch and the nonprofit of your institution, but you write right there on 1,000 characters, the summary, the methodology, innovation, the novelty of your project, and the impact. We want to see what your study is bringing to the field. For the programs new to the field, you will have to include a transition statement. What are you bringing from the area that you are an expert, maybe oncology, maybe bioinformatics, any other field that is not necessarily neuroscience? What are you bringing to the field? What are you of Alzheimer's and dementia? The criteria for the letter of intent is the reviewers will look into the innovation, the methodology rigor, if you are addressing the question in a proper way, if you're in line with the research priorities of the Alzheimer Association, and something they will take a look into if you're doing studies in individuals, clinical studies, are you having power analysis, all that, statistics, it's appropriate. So the rigor of your application. And the new to the field, as I mentioned, what are you bringing? Your transition to the area of Alzheimer's and dementia? Why are you doing that? And how is it going to elevate the field? So once you're invited, so this is the letter of intent for the core programs. So we have in details here. So we have the research fellowship. That's for anyone that finished their PhD. So it can be a postdoc or instructor level up to an assistant professor level, as long as you've defended your thesis, your terminal degree in the last 13 years. If you ever applied to the association, you can see we did do some changes due to the pandemic. It used to be 10 years. We changed it to 3, we added 3 years. It might be that this will continue on. It might be that we will go back to 10 years. So if you're thinking about applying, this might be a great time to do it, because it might be that you are still eligible. We also increased the amount of funding. So now the research fellowships are $200,000 to 2 to 3 years. You can use $7,500 towards traveling. And at the end, if you do all the reporting, mentor evaluation, scientific evaluation, everything is okay and approved by the association, the PI, so the fellow, and the mentor will receive $10,000 each. It is not $10,000 for you to go to Bahamas, but it is for you to advance your research and maybe use for publishing a paper or doing professional development or starting a new project and maybe applying those data to the following step of your career. And that might be an AARG, a research grant. We fund in all programs of this set, the core programs, is all full spectrum of science. So you might do animal work, you might do in vitro in a cell, or you might do clinical work, you might do care. So any spectrum of a full spectrum of science. So we also have the clinician scientist fellowship. It's exactly the same as the research fellowship. The main difference is that you need to do clinical service. So you need to see patients and you need to have a license to see patients. So an MD, DO, nursing practitioners, we had physical therapists, and it is focused up to assistant professor level. So assistant professors can apply to clinician scientist fellowship as long as they are within 18 years of their terminal degree. Everything else, 2 to 3 years, you get the stipend, but it also has a little bit more of funding. It's $250,000. So you apply to the letter of intent, you're called for a full application, then the fellows will have to provide, the fellowship applicants will have to provide a statement of mentorship. And I do want to highlight, if you are thinking about applying to the fellowships, it is taking into consideration highly the training plan. It is 30% of your applications. When we sit in committee calls, we do see that the reviewers are very serious on how this fellowship is going to move you to your independent career. What are you going to do the next? What is the professional development during your career? What is the fellowship bringing to you? So do take time to write with your mentor and talk and discuss the mentorship statement. You need to write your own statement of commitment, and then you need to do the usual area of research where you state specific aims, the hypothesis, etc. As I said, the criteria, the mentoring plan, we've seen, we actually updated now the guidelines for it because it has been a very heavy weight on the review process. We've seen applications that the science is good, but the mentoring plan is not good, and they have not been invited to be funded. The reviewers will also look into the impact and risk of the application. And all programs of this set, the core programs, we allow resubmission. So if during the letter of intent portion, you don't get review comments, but on the full application, you will get the reviewer comments. So if you, by any chance, you're not invited, we recommend you to try again and address the comments. You may do it as a resubmission. You will need to submit a letter of intent again. And if you are invited at that stage of the full application, you will have a resubmission statement. So it's kind of a response to a paper. You will have one page to address all the comments of the reviewers. You may do it as a resubmission, or some applicants decide, no, I'm just going to do it again as a new application. That's a choice of yours. We don't have limits for resubmission. So if you, let's suppose we open twice a year, the programs, we have one that usually opens in the winter, January, February, and one that opens in the summer, July, August, August, September. So if you don't get funded in one round, you can apply the next, or maybe skip, think about it a little bit and do on the following cycle. Once we've had a lot of folks that were funded by the research fellowship, and then they moved into their independent careers and applied to become research grants, because this mechanism is focused for newly independent investigators. So folks that are assistant or associate professor level that are within 18 years of their terminal degree. So also, if you've applied in the past, it used to be 15. So now it's 18. We've added 3 years to all programs. And this program is $200,000, 2 to 3 years as well. You have a travel stipend of the same $7,500. You don't have the mentorship component because you're already an independent investigator yourself, but we fund all spectrum of science as well. The new to the field, we don't have a limit of the terminal degree because we want to bring people that are maybe full professors and did their careers in something else. We've funded people of researchers that were doing research their careers in oncology, bioinformatics, even engineering, that they come and they see on their own field of expertise that this, whatever molecule or assay or something might be applicable for Alzheimer's and dementia and other dementia. So they apply to the new to the field. And it's $200,000, 2 to 3 years as well. And so definitely full spectrum of science. This is a program that's been growing constantly in the last few years. And this is something that we are very proud to fund because we want to bring more people to study and tackle Alzheimer's and dementia. The peer process, this is for all for the research grants. You don't have, as I said, the mentorship component, so you will have the statement, the work plan, specific aims, hypothesis, and the new to the field, the transition statement. What are you bringing? That's different. As other review process, the reviewers will take into account your application, your applicant, your biosketch, your career, your CV as well. The quality of the work, the methodology, is it well done, well performed, impact, risk, and as I said, resubmission are allowed. For every program, so the research fellowship, the clinician scientist, the research grant, and new to the field, if you are recruiting individuals for your study, you need to provide a recruitment plan. The Alzheimer's Association we are strong believers of diversity in the studies, diverse population. So we do take into account the population you will be recruiting for your study. Also the available resources and the budget justification, obviously, as it's common for all grants. Biosketches of the applicant, biosketches of the mentor, you may add biosketches of key personnel as well. And we strongly believe in data sharing. So what is your plan of data sharing? Is it through open access? Are you providing data in open data sharing online if you're doing biological research? And if you're doing a resubmission, the resubmission statement. And then you have references, citations. So this is just a pretty much just a summary of it all. You can find this on the RFA as well. Just basically saying everything that I just said, what the eligibility. And we always like to talk with any one of us that give these talks. It's like, I give you all tips of success. First of all, please read the program announcement and the RFA carefully. And why do I say this? Because we constantly update it. So if you've maybe applied last cycle and you go apply now, some things might have changed. Allowable costs, like for the research fellowships, I will give you an example. We used to allow 3 pages of letters of support. Now it's 1 page long. So make sure to check that list and see if everything that you are submitting to us makes sense. And carefully read everything that's on your portion of the program announcement. And this is not only for the Alzheimer's Association, obviously, it's for all funding agencies. So as I said, the letter of intent is reviewed. So we don't guarantee you're going to be invited for a full application, but we do tend, in average, to invite around 40 to 50% of the letters of intent that are submitted, depending on the cycle. As I mentioned, the eligibility criteria, it's very specific to each program. So make sure you are applying to the program you are eligible for. If you have any questions, reach out, send us an email. We are very responsive. If you are unsure, just write to us and someone will reply to you. And this is something that we highly recommend. Get someone to read your application that it's not necessarily in your area or maybe around lab or your research group. get someone else to read it, because sometimes the people around you are so used to that the reviewers sometimes it's not clear for the reviewers. We do get a lot of issues that applications are not funded, and we have meetings with the applicants, and then we talk to them about the review. It's not clear to the reviewer what you wrote. It might be very clear to you as a scientist, as a researcher, but unfortunately for the reviewer, it's not. We try to match as much as possible the reviewers that are going to read your application to have the expertise to review your study. We have 3 reviewers per application, so then do take into account as well, and then the committee call. But always get an extra pair of eyes, typos, everything. Always think that maybe you are a reviewer yourself. You are not going to review only one application. Most likely reviewers are reviewing 4, 5, 10 applications. So if they go through and there are typos and things that are not clear, obviously as a reviewer, you lose attention to that. And we do allow you to identify reviewers that you want to include and reviewers that you want to exclude to evaluate your application. We will for sure and absolutely exclude the ones you put in. However, we do not guarantee that we will give to the applicant, to the reviewers that you want us to include. We will try, but it's not guaranteed due to availability as well of the reviewer. If you are doing a resubmission, make sure to read the comments and address them as much as you can, and use that space of resubmission statement. You have a whole page to address that. So make sure to use that, and it's your benefit for it. The next cycle, that if it is a resubmission, not necessarily the same reviewers are going to get your application, but they will have access to the previous application, and they will have access to see if you addressed the comments properly, if you change the application properly. And as I mentioned, call us, email us. We are there. We want to fund you. We want to help you. There's only so much we can control, but there's so much we can answer as well. So please write to us. This is something I always say in my talks. We all want to be millionaire. We all want to win the lottery. Not everyone buys a ticket. Everyone wants to be funded by the Alzheimer Association. So please apply. You may apply. Some people, sometimes they don't even know they're eligible. We had some folks in the last cycle, they did not know they were eligible. They heard a talk or went to a conference, saw the eligibility, they applied and they were funded. So give it a try and good luck. But also on that sense, throughout the funding mechanism, as I said, the pair of eyes, the extra pair of eyes that we want. Another way to find those eyes outside your own network, it's becoming a member of the Alzheimer Association International Society to Advance Alzheimer's Research and Treatment, iStart. So iStart is a society of the association. We have over 7,000 researchers that are brought together to pursue knowledge, collaboration, and breakthroughs. It is currently, we actually changed the fees. So any student, grad student, it's free of charge. And folks that are in low and middle income countries are also free of charge. Postdocs are $65 a year and professionals are $130. There are lots of benefits of becoming an iStart member, including not only having access to all the journals, but the main and career center, but also the main thing is actually that you have access to the professional interested areas, the PIAs. The PIAs we have currently 29 of them actually, and they have all subjects. So it's a group of people that will meet and discuss different subjects, and you can find your future collaborators, future people that will read your applications. Papers came out of PIAs. So, we have PIAs that are for Down syndrome, for clinical trials, for women in science, for the diversity and disparities. So we have all sorts of PIAs. You might participate in one. Sorry, I don't know, it's going automatically here. You might join one, or you may want to join 29. but you are welcome to join, and it is a great networking event, networking opportunity. Also, the iStart has webinars, several journal clubs, uh, uh, guide to grants, guide to conferences. I don't know why it's going, sorry. There's actually a webinar that we recorded in the beginning of the year that is focused only to the grant. We interviewed people, reviewers, so that it was a 5-day series that I would highly recommend you taking a look. We interviewed reviewers, applicants, awardees from the association, current and past, and they shared their own experience of how to apply and their insights. So definitely take a look into those webinars if you're an iStart member. Also, with Alzheimer Association, we do host the biggest Alzheimer conference in the world, the AAIC, the Alzheimer Association International Conference. The last one was just 2 months ago in July in San Diego. We had over 10,000 attendees in person and virtual. All our conferences are virtual, are hybrid format. If you are an iStart member, the virtual component is always free. So we had actually 5,000 people in person in San Diego, but we also had over 5,000 people all over the world. We had actually more attendees that were women, 60% were women. We had over 700 presentations, over almost 3,000 posters. It was a blast. Everyone was happy to actually be in a conference for the first time after 3 years. And the next one is actually in Amsterdam, July 2023. So if you have funding or opportunity to go, make sure to put it in your calendars. But we also have other conferences until the next AAIC. We have just around the corner, the SANCON, the Southeastern Neurodegenerative Disease Conference, that's gonna happen in Bonita Springs in Florida. We also have one that's gonna happen in Kenya with our partners of the Global Brain Health Institute and other partners like University of Texas. That's gonna be focused on brain aging in low and middle income countries. We have one that's going to happen only focused on APOE and immunity in March. We have one focused only on advancements of immunity. And also we have one that's called AAC Neuroscience Next, that it's focused on grad students, postdocs very early on their careers. So make sure to take note, alz.org scientific meetings. We always update, there's always meetings happening. So make sure to always keep an eye, not only on the grants, but also the scientific meetings. And I would be happy to answer any questions now. And if you come up to any other questions that maybe now you didn't think of, send us an email and we'll be happy to answer. Thank you. Any questions? No? So do make sure to check the website and make sure to send us an email. We will respond to you. Okay.